Good morning. This is Dr. Michelle Deering of Curative Connections, here for another Mothering Motivation Monday. You know, often we hear about listening and hearing, and one of the ways in which I distinguish between the two is that hearing involves that auditory section of your brain, and listening involves three things: your two ears and your heart. So what I'd like to do today is just talk a little bit about some aspects of listening. Okay, have you ever had those like those times where either someone's saying something to you and you kind of zone out, or you're not listening, or you realize that you're not listening, or maybe you're talking to someone and you get a sense they're not really listening to you? Okay, well, it kind of makes me think about you know, the first part of listening, which is this ear. And that ear I refer to as one's past encounters. There was this movie back in the 80s called Close Encounters, where, you know, at the very end, not to be a spoiler alert, but, you know, at some point, you know, you're going to meet the alien. So that happens. But this movie, Close Encounters, was a big deal back then, around the time that E.T. came out. But with regards to close encounters and in past encounters, one of the things that you need to keep in mind is, when considering past encounters, think about who was involved in that encounter, okay, and then what message was actually being communicated to you about yourself, your abilities, or your potential. So, case in point. Last week, I was at the hair salon, and in the course of being at the hair salon, I was talking with the person doing my hair, and I asked the question, how do I take care of this? And the person responded, well, I'm not quite sure, you know, I don't really, can't really tell you. And as she stumbled over her words, she just got more and more flustered just by my simple question of, how do I take care of my hair? Okay, and it dawned on me in the middle of that interaction, as I was hearing her get flustered, it dawned on me, well, you know, maybe she's having some kind of encounter with a past person in her past who maybe communicated some messages to her about herself as a person, or her abilities as a hair salon person, or, you know, her potential in terms of her own business. I don't know, but during that interaction, I realized that at some point I zoned out, okay? And I thought, gee, I'm zoning out here, why is that? And I paused to consider what was going on, and I realized that I, in that moment, also was having a past encounter with a person who had communicated things to me about who I was, my abilities, and my potential. And it caused me to zone out. And so there we were, me and this hair salon person, having this really close encounter of a third kind, where, you know, we just weren't listening to each other. Okay, so that's just case in point. So we as moms, as we go throughout our week this week, interacting in particular with our daughters, really pause to consider and be mindful of, you know, what past encounters might be happening in your interaction with your daughter. Okay, so this is Dr. Michelle Deering of Curative Connections. Until next time, just remember, keep connecting and making those connections. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.